Now it's telling us a triangle DEF. If angle D is congruent to angle E, then they give us the three expressions for the sides. We need to find x and the measure of each side. So what should I do first?
Find out what's the vertex, which is E because of x.
Said E is the vertex?
Yeah.
Let's go and draw that. We'll see. So if I make these my congruent sides, where should I put angles D and E? Anybody, where's D and E go? There are congruent angles. The bottom, very good. So they're congruent, then what goes up top? Ah, very good. Okay, so that's going to tell me what my congruent sides are so I can pick out which expression. So what are my congruent sides?
Would it be 4x minus 8, 7x?
Perfect, because you know it's EF and DF are congruent sides, so set those two equal. We definitely don't want to set x plus 4 equal to anything because that's the base side, and the base side is not going to be equal to either of the other two. Does that make sense so far? Great. Alright, we're going to subtract 4x from either side to get 3x. We're going to add 35. That's negative 8 plus 35.
27.
Perfect. And what does x equal? None. Very good. And then we need to figure out the length of DE, EF, and DF. So starting with DE, what's the length of DE?
13.
Good. And then EF?
You should be popping stuff into your calculators.
Alright, and then DF.
28.
Good.
So why isn't she putting degrees next to those?
They're not on the inside.
Yeah, they're not angles, right? Yeah, they're lengths. And it doesn't tell us what it's measured in. Those could be inches, centimeters.
Can we put feet?
What?
It wasn't given, so now you
Yeah,
can't.
if it's given, then yeah, we put centimeters to tell us that. But they didn't tell us.
I feel like I used to have to put units. Seems like we kind of dropped that off in the curriculum, where if we weren't given a specific unit, we put the word unit. I don't see that too often.
Yeah.
I don't know why. That easier, I guess.
2021, throw away those units.
Okay. Number 10. Go ahead and do number 10 on your own. What is my vertex angle?
W.
W, very good. And then doesn't matter where you put x and y. So what two did you set equal?
5
X and Y.
X and y, yeah. Try you're going to give the equation, go ahead.
5x minus 12 equals 7x.
Very good. You subtracted 5x, you get 2x, added the 48. What is negative 12 plus 48?
36.
And what does x equal? When you plug that in, what did you get for the measure of angle W?
44.
Good, and then the other two angles?
70.
Then we could add it together and make sure it equals 180, which it does. Alright, then the last part of these notes, it's about equilateral triangles. We talked about the idea that if your sides are congruent, the angles opposite are going to be congruent. Well, obviously that's going to be true in equilateral triangle, because all sides are congruent. That means the sides, or the angles opposite those sides are congruent, making all the angles are congruent. So in a triangle equal if and only if, we talked about this if and only if. Does anybody remember what the if and only if means? It was a while ago, when we were in Unit 2, we talked about the biconditional. If and only if. I meant that when you switched it, so you took the converse was always going to be true. So that if and only if meant that those two pieces went together. Whether you know that the angles are congruent, you automatically know the sides are congruent. If you know all the sides are congruent, then you know the angles are congruent. So is that if and only if. the first part is saying if the measure of angle A is equal to the measure of angle B is equal to the measure of angle C, then what do you suppose we're going to put equal as a then? We know all the angles are congruent. What do we know for the then?
A equals C.
We already have that. So if all the angles are congruent, what else is congruent?
A, B equals C.
There we're getting there. So AB equals,
AC.
and what else?
Oh, that means
We have AB, we have BC, what are we missing?
AC.
AC, there we go. So if all the angles are congruent, all the sides are congruent. If they reverse that and you could know that all the sides are congruent, then what is the then part?
Would it be measure A, measure B, measure C?
There you go, then all three angles. Measure of angle A equals the measure of angle B is equal to the measure of angle C. Okay. They're telling us that angle A is 60 and angle B is 60. Well, how am I going to figure out angle C then? Perfect, yeah. So for angle C, we're going to do 180. Subtract the two knowns, and what do we get? 60, very good. So now we have three congruent angles. So what's that going to tell us about our sides?
They're all
They're all the same, yeah. So BC is equal to
90.
90. Go to the side length.
Oh,
Does that make sense? And then AC would also be
90.
wait. What?
Are you sure?
Yeah.
Alright, then
So
number.
we only do one of the angles as a degree?
So this is measure of angle C, but these are the sides. And they already gave us the other two.
So angles are measured in degrees. Sides are measured in anything else, like feet, not anything else, but feet, inches, centimeters, not degrees.
Or you want, I have two more problems. Don't you wait. Number 12. What are they showing us with these tick marks? Yeah, so if all three of our sides are congruent, how are we going to figure out the measure of each angle?
Wait, what? Okay, I'm not answering this.
If you need to go back, we can go back. That's fine.
No, it's not about that. It's about when you see two of those lines on a triangle, what does that mean? Does that still mean congruent? When
Oh,
it's
so
two
if you-
lines
yeah.
on the same side?
Let me draw a totally separate triangle.
Okay.
And you will see that's in one of those missing angles of triangles page. You have.
Like I saw one on our other thing, and it had like two. It was like that triangle, but on the sides there was two little lines, like
we have like
instead of just one
multiple.
little line.
Something like this is that equal. You could have something like. This is not going to work out. Just go with it for the sake of an example. So if I say that these two are equal, and I also want to say that these two are equal, then I do tick marks to differentiate between those pairs.
Oh, so
You
those
can go
are
to
so they
triple.
both, but that means congruent. though.
They do, yeah,
Okay,
absolutely.
so you're just trying to tell them apart.
Yes. Yep.
Okay.
Same
Just
thing
two
with the
triangles
arc.
into one.
Yeah, so I could do this. Then I would have to do double for the next pair.
Yeah.
Then you could also have triple. You could do.
That's starting to get more and more ridiculous.
I don't like to go too far past the triples. I agree with that. It's kind of hard to see. Alright, so number 12, if all of my sides are congruent, how am I going to figure out each of those angle measures?
If they're all congruent, that means they all
24, so
equal.
angle is 60.
Yes. So what did you get?
They don't be 60.
They'd all be 60 automatically. So one way, if you can't remember that, you could do 180 and we need to split it equally between the three angles. Or if you just have it memorized, if it's equilateral, automatically your angles will be 60 degrees. And memorizing it is really the goal. Just knowing that equilateral triangles, the angles are 60. Because you're splitting those degrees evenly between the three.
On those guys, be careful of the difference between sides and angles, because this one, it gave you the sides, so you might assume that it's asking for KL or KJ, and you might think you need to use 24, but that 24 is only there to show you that it's equilateral. That's it. But if
Yeah, but where'd you get
we're
the
gonna
60
ask
from?
you about KL, what would KL be?
So every triangle is equal
24,
180. That's how you just got the 60 degrees.
If it's equilateral, yeah. I'm not sure if you said the word equilateral. Because the angle measures are all equal, you gotta split it equally between the three.
Okay.
So what is KL? What Mrs. Waite asked.
Someone said it.
24, very good. So if this one's 24 centimeters, and this one would also be?
So if they're asking that, you could get it, but don't use it to find the angles. You didn't need it to find the angles. I'm hoping I don't see phones out because we've already said it like 3 times and we're gonna have to get 2 hours, and I don't wanna do it.
Alright, 13 of triangle PQR is an equilateral triangle. Solve for x and y. What am I going to do here? What?
Let's solve for the sides first.
Okay.
And I would do 9y plus 1 equals 11y minus 3.
Very good. Did it matter which two sides I set equal?
Nope.
No, you get to pick whatever two you want. You should get the same answer for y.
Then take the 9y other to the other side. You get 1 equals 2y minus 23. You add 23 to both sides. 24 equals 2y. And y equals 12.
And again, it does not matter which pair of sides you choose because you'll get y equals 12 either way. What about the angles? How am I going to figure out the angles? Noah, do you have an idea?
Everything just multiplied by 3 equals 180.
What are you multiplying by 3?
7x and negative 3.
Okay, you could do that, and then what'd you say your set equal to?
180.
Alright, so let's do that. So 7x minus 3 times 3. We could get that part out first, because you have 3 of them. They all match. So to distribute or just divide by the 3? How do you guys solve? Distribute it. So you get 21x
Minus 1 equals
good. Now what would 21x equal?
21x equals 198. I mean 190. I mean
189.
189.
What is 189 divided by 21? You said 9? I didn't do the mental math very well. Very good. There's another way to set this up. Does anybody know the other way?
I'll say 7x.
Would equal 0. Trent? After we get through this problem.
What if you would have divided the 3 first instead of distributing it? What would 7x minus 3 be equal to?
60.
So could you have just done that in the first place?
Well, we have to find x.
But you solved it after that.
Oh, divide this by 3 so you can.
Well, yeah, if you would have just divided.
So what would you have gotten? And that'll give us our other way to set it up.
60.
Yeah, so 7x minus 3 also equals 60. Why is that? Why does that work?
Well, because it's all equal.
Yeah, so if you see the word equilateral, you know all your angles equal 60. So you could jump right to 7x minus 3 equals 60. Does that make sense?
And you would have gotten the same answer if you solved for x.
Okay, so we can show you. We can add 3. Divide by 7. And we'll get